Scott Brown is the former Massachusetts senator and U.S. ambassador to New Zealand and Samoa. By the way, that's where our musical guests for tonight's show are from, and that's kind of cool that he would be here tonight. But he's also the front man of the rock band Scott Brown and the Diplomats. How cool is that? And when he's not out rocking these days, he's busy coaching basketball, cross country, and track. He even takes on triathlons just for fun. But that's not all. He's been playing host to White House hopefuls in his backyard barbecue series where candidates share their stump speeches and answer voter questions. Scott Brown is here with us tonight to answer some of the questions that we've got for him. Please welcome Ambassador Scott Brown. Great to have you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
You've had quite the exciting life being a senator and ambassador. But one of the things I find fascinating, I know you did this in 2016 as well. At your home in New Hampshire, first in the nation primary, you invite every presidential candidate to come to your backyard. There's barbecue, there's opportunity to visit with the candidates, and most all of them show up.
Well, everyone has shown up, actually. It's interesting when you say exciting life. I thought you were talking about you because obviously governor, presidential candidate, talk show host. But yes, so listen.
One of these days I'll find a job I can actually stick with, you know.
Well, it was historic. We did it in 16, and we had 16 of the 18 presidential candidates, and the last one being President Trump, it was 3,000 people in the snowstorm.
Wow.
And it was really amazing. And this year, after I got back from serving as the ambassador for 4 years under President Trump, I was the longest serving ambassador behind Israel. I said, you know, we got to do it again because the country's upside down right now. Yeah. We need to hear from everybody. And you people here in the audience and people listening, obviously, yeah, first in the nation. This is, and Joe Biden, by the way, is not coming. Yeah.
Well, he might not know that he was there, so it's okay.
I mean, he's completely disrespecting the process. The DNC has obviously manipulated everything. That's why RFK Jr., who you had on, did a nice interview. We had 2,000 people, by the way, for RFK Jr.
Yeah.
So we've had everybody, and they do come, and they're all undeclared voters. They don't know where they're going because they're concerned about President Trump and what he's going through right now, and they're saying, do we want somebody who's going to talk and be fighting what happened before, you know, not only in court, but, you know, obviously in the public opinion, or do they want somebody new and fresh who's going to move forward and talk about the very real problems that we have that this administration has begun?
So what are people talking about? Because, I mean, you have a unique kind of venue, and I don't know of anywhere else in the country, and it's important because New Hampshire really does, along with Iowa, filter through the candidates. And, you know, one of the things most people don't understand, it's a very great service to the country that Iowa and New Hampshire have these early state efforts, because nobody in these states are impressed that somebody's running for president.
Right.
You know, and they ask tough questions, and if they don't get a good answer, they follow up way better than the press does.
The thing in New Hampshire is, hey, listen, what do you think about Governor Burgum? Well, listen, he's a great guy. He's this, he's that. He's done an amazing job. But, you know, I got to meet him 5 or 6 more times. You know that. You ran in New Hampshire.
Oh,
they
it's
love
tough.
you in New Hampshire.
But you're right. You got to meet somebody. You got to go to their home.
Go to the home.
4 or 5 times.
Go see their daughter's soccer game. It's pretty amazing.
But what are they talking about?
Listen, obviously the disaster of this administration, high inflation, obviously the lack of border security. Now, we have a northern border, and it's the same type of border. People are coming in there as well. The fentanyl crisis, and then what happened in Ukraine by, you know, the Biden administration not putting their foot down and basically giving a quasi-green light. Go ahead, just take a little bit. And, you know, on and on and on. The cost of energy, the lack of energy independence, what they're doing in our schools with the whole woke agenda, the things that you referenced in your monologue. Yeah, listen, the country is upside down. I have to disagree with your monologue a little bit in that I'm a glass half full person.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom and dad were married and divorced 4 times each. I'm a sexual abuse survivor, and I was arrested at 12 years old. Okay, and I've always believed in God. I've always been faithful, and I've always known that there's always something better. So even though, yes, the country's a little upside down, folks, right now, I believe that the power of God, the power of our families and our friends is going to pull this country up and really just put us on a better track.
I want you to be right. I really, truly do. I want you to be right. I think what hurts me is when I see the generation under us, the one that's coming up to be leaders, that are not appalled by the atrocities of Hamas. And they act like that Well, it's justified. And so, as your tenure as an ambassador, what were people's thoughts toward the United States? You were in New Zealand, which is a long way from here, but it does matter what other nations think and how they view us. What was your experience there?
Well, I had New Zealand, Cook, Niue, and Samoa, and our interest in Antarctica. As I said, I was the first one in the ASEAN region, obviously with all the Pacific Island nations, and then what's happening in the Indo-Pacific. President Trump, respectfully, whether you like him or not, in the ASEAN region, he was very well respected because he was pushing back against China. Now, the big difference now, and I was just in Rome. I was in Rome and Florence and Pisa with a former ambassador to New Zealand and other ambassadors. We were kind of catching up. And now people are saying, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, you know, respectfully, I know Joe Biden. You know Joe Biden. You know, I want him to do well because he's the president of the United States.
Sure.
But he's not.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, our country's not doing well. Our foes don't fear us. Our allies don't trust us. And, you know, respectfully, I feel badly when I see him stumbling and bumbling and falling upstairs and going out the wrong doors. I mean, we've all seen it. And you know, God help us. We need to obviously go in a new and better direction immediately.
Thanks to Scott Brown for being with us. Follow him on social media. Just go to Huckabee.tv and we'll connect you.
If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I hope you will now. The button is just below this video, and there's a little bell next to it. If you click on those, YouTube will reluctantly start letting you know when we've got a new video uploaded.